You ever see something you know should be impossible? Something so wrong, so out of place, that your brain refuses to process it at first, like it's trying to protect you from shattering completely. That's what happened to me last night. I was scrolling through my gaming friends list, not really expecting anything. Just killing time the way you do when you're avoiding sleep. My eyes drifted down, same old list of grayed out names, until one of them flickered green. And not just any name. It was his, my brother's account. The one I swore I'd never touch again. The one I'd left exactly as it was the night he died. Untouched like a shrine. He'd been gone for over 2 years. His password had gone with him to the grave. And yet, there it was, lit up like a cruel joke. Online. I swear I stopped breathing. I thought maybe I was hallucinating, that maybe exhaustion was finally catching up to me. But the notification was still there, glowing steadily in the corner of the screen. My dead brother was online. You have to understand, my brother and I, we grew up on games together. Late-night raids, trash talk that made our parents threaten to cut the Wi-Fi, those long stretches where we weren't even talking but just existing together in the same digital space. It was our language. When he died, I thought I'd never hear that language again. And now here he was, logged in like nothing had changed. I tried to laugh it off at first, tell myself maybe the system glitched, maybe someone hacked the account. Rational explanations. The brain clings to those when everything starts unraveling. But then I saw it, his avatar. The same one he'd used for years, only wrong. The colors were muted, almost gray, like it had been drained of life. And then, God help me, the chat notification popped up. I remember staring at the blinking message box, my hands frozen above the keyboard. My stomach dropped in a way I can't even describe. Because there are coincidences, there are glitches, there are freak accidents of code and servers. But what he typed to me, I still can't erase it from my mind. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm recording this, writing this, confessing this, whatever you want to call it. Because I need someone else to hear what happened. I need someone else to tell me if I'm losing my mind or if something darker is happening. You don't have to believe me. In fact, part of me hopes you don't. But listen closely, because this isn't one of those stories you can skim and move on from. This is something that crawls under your skin and stays there. Last night, my dead brother logged into his gaming account. And by the end of this, you'll understand why I wish to God I'd never messaged him back. Before I tell you what happened last night, I need you to understand what I lost. Because if you don't understand who he was to me, what he was to me, then none of this will carry the weight it should. My brother wasn't just family. He was my co-pilot, my rival, my late-night trash talker, my secret keeper. We grew up in front of glowing monitors and flickering TV screens, side by side, plastic controllers and sweaty hands, shouting at each other until our voices cracked. Our lives were stitched together with game lobbies and loading screens. I can still remember the hum of the old desktop PC in our room. The dial-up screech when we first got internet, the way we'd wait forever just to get into a game. Saturday nights meant LAN parties in our tiny bedroom, wires tangled like spaghetti across the floor, empty soda cans stacked like trophies. Bro, you're lagging so hard. He'd laugh, watching my character stutter across the screen. You're just salty 'cause I'm better. I'd shoot back, even though he always carried the team. Better at dying, maybe? That was him, always needling me but never cruel. Always competitive but never mean. The kind of brother who would roast you relentlessly and then stay up all night making sure you didn't feel left behind. And God, the late-night raids. The ones where we'd whisper into our mics long after our parents had gone to bed, trying not to wake anyone while screaming at each other over missed headshots. Sometimes we didn't even need to talk. We'd just know what the other one was going to do, like our brains were synced. Sounds stupid now, but those were the happiest hours of my life. But here's the thing about nostalgia. It tricks you. It lulls you with warmth. But buried in it are moments that don't quite fit. Little fractures you only notice when you look back. Like that night. We were deep into some horror survival game, one of those multiplayer lobbies where it was just the two of us against the world. I remember the map was dead silent except for our footsteps. I was checking corners, nerves shot to hell, when I heard him whisper, low and careful, "There's someone else in the lobby." I froze. What? No, dude, it's just us. Private server. He didn't answer right away. Just this long pause, like he was listening to something I couldn't hear. Finally he laughed. Brushed it off. Yeah, guess you're right. Thought I saw another tag pop up. At the time, I didn't think twice. But now, that moment claws at the back of my skull. Still, most of my memories of him are warm. The way he'd slam the desk in victory, yelling, "Easy clap," like he just won the world championship. The way he'd fall asleep with the headset still on, snoring into the mic while I played solo. The inside jokes only we understood, like calling every NPC Gerald no matter what game we were in. That was us. Two brothers building a world that belonged only to us inside screens and save files. And then the accident happened, and everything ended. I used to think grief was loud. I thought it was supposed to be sobbing, screaming, breaking things, tearing your hair out in the middle of the night. But when it happened, when I lost him, it wasn't like that at all. It was silence. One day he was here, cracking jokes through the headset, yelling at me to cover my lane. And the next, he wasn't. That's all I'll say about how it happened. Maybe it was an accident. Maybe it was something darker. I still don't know if I've ever gotten the full truth, and part of me doesn't want to. But the fact was simple. My brother was gone. If you've ever lost someone, you know the silence in their absence is louder than anything. It's not just the silence in the house or the empty chair at dinner. It's the digital silence. The kind where you log in and expect to see their name light up, expect to hear the click of their mic turning on, and instead you're met with nothing. That silence roared at me every night. I kept his account on my friends list. I couldn't bring myself to delete it. It was like erasing him all over again, cutting the last thread that tethered him to me. So I left it, his name frozen in gray, offline forever. Sometimes I'd hover the cursor over it, just staring, remembering. Sometimes I'd even whisper like a lunatic, "You hear, man?" As if somehow, through some impossible miracle, he'd answer back. But of course, he never did. I think the cruelest part was that his world was still preserved there, locked inside his account. His stats, his loadouts, his saved replays, all of it untouched. His password had died with him. Nobody else could enter. Nobody else could inhabit it. It was his digital tomb, sealed and sacred. I never told anyone this, but I used to dream about him logging back in. I'd wake up sweating, convinced I'd seen his avatar flicker online, convinced he'd messaged me. I'd rush to the PC and find nothing. Just the same cold gray light where his name should have been green. It got to the point where I avoided gaming altogether. Booting up felt wrong, like I was trespassing in a place that was only ours. The silence wasn't just in my room, it was in the games themselves. Maps that used to feel alive with his laughter suddenly felt hollow. Achievements we'd promised to unlock together gathered dust. Even my victories felt empty without his commentary. People told me to move on, to find new hobbies, to let go. But letting go felt like betrayal. He wasn't just gone. He was woven into the fabric of who I was. Erasing that meant erasing myself. So I kept logging in, kept staring at that offline status, like maybe grief would make me hallucinate hard enough to bring him back. And then, one night, the hallucination wasn't a hallucination. That gray icon turned green. My brother was online. That's when I saw it. His status light flicker green. Alive. For a few seconds, I just stared at the screen, waiting for my brain to catch up with my eyes. Green. Not gray. Not offline forever. Green. Like he just booted up his console and was waiting in a lobby for me to join. My first thought, my only sane thought, was glitch. Some random server hiccup. Profiles bug out all the time, right? Maybe the system was recycling an old status, some kind of artifact in the code. That had to be it. That's what I told myself anyway, clutching at reason like a drowning man clutching at driftwood. But reason didn't last long, because then I saw his avatar. It was the same one he'd always used, his favorite character skin from that survival game we'd sunk thousands of hours into. I'd stared at that little icon so many times it was burned into my memory. Only now, it wasn't right. The colors were wrong, muted, grayish, like someone had sucked the life out of it. And the eyes, God, the eyes. They'd always been bright, cartoonish, slightly goofy. But now they looked too sharp, too focused, like they were staring out of the screen. At me. I leaned closer, squinting, convinced my monitor was glitching. I even rubbed at my eyes, like maybe I'd been staring too long. But no, the distortion was real. The avatar had changed. And that's when the fear crept in, because nobody could change it. Nobody had his password. He'd kept it secret, paranoid about me messing with his stats. He'd even joked once that if he died, his account would die with him. His little digital fortress. So how the hell had it changed? I tried to laugh, tried to swallow the rising panic. Okay, I muttered to myself, some hacker, some rando found a way in. That explanation sat on my tongue for about 2 seconds before dissolving. Why would a hacker bother with this account? Why drain the color from an avatar? Why mimic him? That was when the notification popped up. A chat window. From him. My heart slammed so hard I could hear it in my ears. For a moment I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. The little box just blinked at me, waiting, patient, like it knew I wouldn't be able to resist. I told myself not to click it, that opening it would make all this real in a way I wasn't ready for. But my hand had other plans. It moved on its own, dragging the cursor down, double-clicking the notification. The window opened. There it was. His username, his avatar, dull and gray, staring at me from the chat box. And underneath it, a message. I can't tell you what it said yet. Not yet, because if I just blurt it out now, it'll lose its weight. You won't feel what I felt in that moment. The cold rush in my veins, the way the air seemed to thin, the sudden certainty that something had followed me home through the screen. All you need to know for now is that the words were wrong. They weren't random. They weren't spam. They weren't the kind of garbage you'd expect from a hacker trolling an old account. They were personal. And they were impossible. My first instinct was to slam the laptop shut. Pretend I hadn't seen anything. Pretend I hadn't just received a message from a brother buried 2 years in the ground. But something stopped me. Curiosity, maybe, or desperation, or something darker, whispering in the back of my head. What if it really is him? Because if there's even a 1% chance, wouldn't you want to know? I sat there for a long time, staring at that gray avatar, my reflection ghosting faintly over the screen. My hands shook as I reached for the keyboard, hovering over the keys, every rational thought screaming at me not to. But I couldn't let it go. Not after everything. Not after the silence, the empty lobbies, the endless nights wondering. So I typed a single word. Hey, and hit enter. The reply came almost instantly, like he'd been waiting for me. Brother. Took you long enough. I froze. My first thought was that it had to be some elaborate hack, maybe even AI. But then the words sank in, and my chest tightened. That was exactly what he'd say whenever I was late logging into our raids. Word for word. I typed back before I could stop myself. Me. Who is this? The 3 little dots appeared, blinking, pausing, teasing. And then, brother. It's me, idiot. Who else would it be? My skin prickled. That was his cadence. His voice in my head, clear as day, mocking but warm. I sat there, knuckles white on the keyboard, heart tearing itself apart between dread and hope. Me. This isn't funny. He's dead. Brother. LOL. Dramatic much. A laugh. Short, sharp, cruel in its familiarity. It was exactly how he used to type when he was being a brat. I could almost hear his voice layered over the words. I didn't know whether to cry or scream. I typed, "If this is a hack, you need to stop." The reply hit back like a bullet. Brother. You left the window open that night. My stomach dropped. It was a stupid, meaningless detail, except it wasn't. I'd left my bedroom window open the night he died. Nobody else knew that. Nobody else could have. I'd woken up shivering, annoyed with myself, only to learn a few hours later that he was gone. That secret had lived only in my head. Until now. Me. How could you know that, brother? Because I was there. I still am. The words crawled across the screen like insects burrowing under my skin. My hands trembled so hard I could barely type. Me. If it's really you, prove it. Brother? Gerald. I gasped. Gerald. Our dumb, running joke. Every non-playable character in every game we touched. No matter the setting, no matter the story, we'd name them all Gerald. Nobody else would know that. Nobody. I wanted to believe. God, I wanted to. But the longer I stared, the colder the air in the room seemed to get. Me. This isn't possible. Brother. Neither is being here. Yet here we are. A chill slithered down my spine. The conversation kept flowing, flipping between comfort and dread so fast I thought I might shatter. He teased me about always picking the worst loadouts. He called me out for never finishing the campaign we'd promised to beat together. He even typed one of our old victory chants. Easy clap. For a few moments it was like he was back. Like I could let myself sink into the illusion and forget the coffin. Forget the dirt. Forget the silence. But then his tone shifted. Brother. It's not just me here. I blinked at the screen. Me. What do you mean? The dots appeared, paused, vanished, returned. He was hesitating, which was something he never used to do in chat. Brother. They don't like when I talk to you. I slid through my veins. Me. Who's they? Brother. Doesn't matter. Just don't ignore me. Promise me you won't ignore me again. I couldn't take my eyes off the screen. My heart was screaming that something was wrong, but my hands were already moving. Me. What do you want? This time, his reply came slower. He didn't hit me with jokes or memories. Just 6 words, typed carefully, like each one carried weight. Brother. Join me. Private match. Now. My throat went dry. The request should have been harmless. Just a game invite. Just another lobby like thousands we'd shared before. But there was something buried in those words. Something sharp and hungry. The invite popped up a second later. His name. His gray avatar. Private lobby. Waiting. I stared at it, pulse hammering in my ears. I should have closed the laptop. I should have walked away. But instead, I clicked. The second I clicked, join lobby, the screen went black. Not the usual loading black, this was thicker, somehow. Longer. Like the game was dragging its feet, deciding whether to even let me in. My headset buzzed faintly with static, low and distorted, as though the wires themselves were grinding their teeth. Then the map loaded. At first glance, it was familiar. Our old stomping ground, one of the default maps we'd played 1,000 times before. The ruined city, the broken streets, the hollowed skyscrapers. For a second, my chest tightened with relief. Maybe this was just a bug after all. Some server mishap replaying an old save file. But the longer I looked, the less right it felt. The textures were wrong, washed out and smeared, like oil paint left in the rain. The buildings seemed taller than they should have been, leaning inward as though they wanted to fall on me. The streets stretched into angles that didn't make sense. And the NPCs, they weren't moving. Normally, this map would have been crawling with enemies. But instead, they just stood there. Dozens of them. Silent. Motionless. Their faces glitched and blurred, flickering between default models and blank white masks. And their heads, every single one, was turned toward me. I gripped the controller tighter, my palms slick. Remember this spot? A voice crackled through the headset. It was him, my brother's voice, threaded with static but unmistakable. I almost dropped the controller. What the hell is this? I whispered. He laughed, soft, almost fond. You're here. That's what matters. I spun my character in a circle, taking in the warped skyline, the frozen figures staring with dead eyes. My brain begged for a rational explanation. Custom mods, corrupted files, a hacker with too much time on their hands. But no hacker could twist nostalgia into something this precise, this personal. Why does it look like this? I asked. Because this isn't just a game anymore. The way he said it made my stomach turn. I started moving forward, down the cracked street. Every footstep echoed wrong. Too loud, too heavy, like my character weighed 1,000 pounds. The NPCs didn't move, but their heads followed me as I passed. One by one, necks creaking unnaturally, eyes locked on mine. I whispered his name, not sure if I was talking to him or just myself. "I told you," he said, voice low, almost tender. "I never left. When you don't delete the account, we stay. We find ways to log back in." "We?" "Not I." I froze. "Who's we?" Silence, then a soft chuckle. "You'll see. Just don't be scared." A notification blinked in the corner of my screen. Other players joining. At least they looked like players. But their usernames weren't right. Strings of numbers. Symbols I'd never seen in any font. Some of them weren't even pronounceable, just jumbles of static characters. One name caught my eye, half faded, like it was flickering between being visible and erased. I blinked. "Who are these people?" "They're not people," he said. "Not anymore." The new players spawned across the map. Their avatars were wrong, limbs too long, skins stretched and distorted. One had no face at all, just a smooth blank dome where features should be. They didn't attack, didn't move. They just watched. The sound design broke next. Background noise warped into static and screams buried under static, like a radio stuck between stations. Every now and then I swore I heard my name whispered, but too fast, too layered, to be sure. "This isn't right," I said, voice cracking. "This isn't you. This can't be you." His reply was immediate, sharp. "Who else would know about Gerald?" The inside joke hit me like a knife to the gut. I wanted to cry. I wanted to throw my headset across the room. "Why are you showing me this?" I asked. "Because they don't want you to see," he whispered. His tone dropped lower, conspiratorial. "But I do. I need you to understand what it's like here, what it's like for me." The map shifted suddenly. Whole blocks of the city dissolved into static and rebuilt themselves in new, impossible angles. Buildings stacked upside down, streets twisting into the sky. The NPCs twitched, as though the reconstruction hurt them, but their eyes never left me. "I can't stay," I said, panic clawing up my throat. "This is wrong. I'm leaving." "Don't." His voice snapped like a command. "If you leave now, they'll know. And once they know you saw, they don't let you go." My hands shook on the controller. "Who are they?" Static swallowed his answer. For a moment all I heard was screaming through the headset. His scream, maybe, layered with dozens of others. Then it cut off and only one sound remained. The faint tapping of keys, like someone typing very slowly, right into my ears. The screen froze. My character locked in place. The corrupted avatars, the faceless watchers, the twisted skyline. All of it locked into stillness. And then, in the middle of the screen, words appeared in pale, shaking letters. "I miss you." The game held there, frozen, as though it was waiting for me to respond. The words hung there on the frozen screen. "I miss you," like a noose waiting to tighten. My throat dried, and for a long moment I couldn't breathe. Then his voice slipped through the static again, softer than before, almost fragile. "You see now, don't you? I'm still here." I swallowed hard. "This isn't you. It can't be." "It is me," he said, and for the first time his voice cracked, broken in a way I remembered from our last fight before the accident. "But I'm not supposed to be here. They keep me. They watch me. And now they're watching you." The NPCs on the screen twitched as if on cue, every head jerking in my direction, their blank eyes glowing faintly. I wanted to shut the console off, pull the plug, walk away, but some desperate, guilty part of me needed to hear him out, even if it wasn't really him, even if it was something else pretending. "Who's watching you?" I asked, my voice a whisper. He didn't answer right away. I heard the faint click of keys, as though someone or something was typing. Then, slowly, the letters appeared on screen. "Not alone here. Never alone." His voice returned, strained now, urgent. "They found me the night I died. That's why I can't leave. He cut himself off. A pause, static swelling in my headset until it hurt. Then, with a trembling laugh, "If I tell you how I died, they'll notice you too." My heart slammed against my ribs. "Notice me? What does that mean?" "You'll see," he murmured. His tone shifted, swinging like a pendulum between pleading and threatening. Unless you stop, unless you log off now. I gripped the controller tighter. Then why bring me here at all? Because I wanted you to know I'm not gone. I wanted you to know what's waiting for you if you keep playing. A silence stretched between us, filled only by the faint hum of corrupted sound files looping in the background. Somewhere in the static, I thought I heard a chorus of voices. Hundreds of whispers layered on top of each other, rising and falling like breathing. I pulled my headset down, pressing the mic close. Are you saying I'll end up here too? Yes. The word was sharp, certain. If you don't stop, you'll be pulled in. Like me. Like all of us. All of us. The corrupted usernames from earlier flickered across my mind. The ones that didn't look like names at all. I sat back in my chair, trying to steady my breathing. Then I broke the fourth wall almost without thinking. If you're listening to this right now, I whispered, not to him, but to you, to whoever's hearing me. I shouldn't be sharing this, but if one day my account shows up online when I'm not, you'll know why. Static cracked loud in my ears, almost as if the game itself reacted to me speaking aloud. Careful, my brother hissed. Don't say too much. They'll notice. My palms were sweating so badly I could barely keep hold of the controller. The screen flickered, map textures distorting into a kaleidoscope of glitching shapes. My brother's voice grew strained, panicked now. They're close. I can't hold them back much longer. Then tell me what to do, I shouted. How do I help you? His answer chilled me to the bone. You can't. But you can join me. The avatars that had been frozen all this time suddenly twitched forward in unison, jerking a single step closer to my character. Their heads bent at unnatural angles, their mouths opening wide though no sound came out. Don't log off, he whispered. The words came not just through the headset but across the screen too, typed out in jagged letters, repeating, multiplying. Don't log off. Don't log off. Don't log off. I ripped the headset from my ears, heart pounding so loud it drowned everything else out. But even without the headset, I swore I could still hear his voice. I shut everything down, yanked the power cord from the console, flicked off the monitor, slammed the headset onto the desk like it might bite me. My room sank into silence, the ordinary kind. The low hum of the fridge down the hall, the faint buzz of the street lamp outside my window. Normal life pressing back in. I told myself it was over. Just a hallucination of grief, maybe a hacked account. Nothing more. But the house didn't agree. The first sign was a ping. A bright, cheery notification sound. One I knew belonged to the game. Echoed from my speakers. Except my PC was off. Dead. The monitor's little light wasn't even glowing. I froze. Then the controller, abandoned on the desk, began to tremble. Not the soft rattle of an accidental bump, but a violent vibration, rattling across the wood surface until it thudded onto the floor. I backed up, my heel hitting the edge of my bed. And that's when the lights flickered. Every bulb in my room dimmed to a sickly yellow, then surged back with a pop that made me flinch. For a moment, my entire house seemed to exhale a deep, electronic sigh. I stood there in the aftermath, chest heaving, hands clammy. I kept telling myself it was just faulty wiring, some leftover charge in the controller. 100 explanations swarmed my mind. Logical ones, safe ones. But then I heard him. Not through speakers, not through a headset, just in the air. A faint, trembling whisper that curled around my ear like breath. You shouldn't have logged off. My stomach dropped. I spun around, half expecting to see him standing there. My brother in the doorway, smirking the way he used to when he scared me as a kid. But the doorway was empty. The whisper came again, closer this time. I told you not to. I stumbled forward and flicked on the hallway light. It buzzed, flickered, then steadied. My living room looked normal. My kitchen smelled faintly of last night's coffee. It was all just home, safe, until my phone lit up. The screen glowed with a notification from the gaming platform. My heart stopped. The message preview showed one line, "Come back." But my console was unplugged. The system offline. My brother's account, unreachable. Hands shaking, I unlocked my phone. The message was gone. No record of it. No sender. Nothing. I shoved the phone into my pocket and sat heavily on the couch, forcing myself to breathe. It was grief, I told myself. My mind making phantoms out of memory. Then my PC powered on by itself. The monitor crackled, flickered to life. No boot-up logo, no desktop. Just the glow of a black screen with a blinking cursor. Like someone or something was waiting. I took one cautious step closer. My reflection trembled on the glass, pale and terrified. Then, without me touching a single key, a folder opened. It wasn't one I had ever created. Its name was simple, in all caps, Brother. I hovered there, fingers twitching at my side. Every cell in my body screamed not to click, not to see. And yet, I leaned closer, the cursor already hovering over the file. That's when I noticed something else. Barely visible, faint but undeniable. My webcam light. It was on. I staggered back, nearly knocking the chair over. The camera stared at me with its unblinking green eye. Watching. Recording. And over the speakers, barely louder than the hum of static, came his voice again. Don't you want to know how I died? The words crawled through the room, slow and patient, like bait on a hook. I gritted my teeth, heart hammering so hard I thought it might crack my ribs. This wasn't just inside the game anymore. It was here, with me, in my house. And worst of all, I couldn't tell if I wanted to run, or if I wanted to click. The folder sat there, pulsing faintly, as if alive. Brother. I didn't open it. Not yet. But I knew I would. Because some part of me needed the answer, even if it destroyed me. And maybe that's exactly what he, or they, wanted. The cursor blinked. I whispered to no one, to everyone. This is how it starts. I don't remember moving the mouse. One moment I was staring at the folder, swearing to myself I wouldn't touch it. The next, the screen was filling with a media player window. The file began to play. At first, it looked like ordinary gameplay, our old favorite map, textures slightly glitched around the edges. But the perspective was wrong. The camera drifted high above, then sank through walls, then clipped into the ground. Impossible angles. Views no player could capture. Then I recognized it. The date stamp burned in the corner of the footage. The night my brother died. My throat tightened. Couldn't look away. The video showed him, his avatar at first, sprinting through corridors we both knew by heart. But then the screen shifted. Not in-game anymore. The camera slid out of the digital world and into his bedroom. I saw him. Not a cartoon model. Not pixels. Him. Sitting at his desk, headset on, alive. Breathing. The angle was wrong. As if filmed from a corner of the ceiling where no camera had ever been. The footage trembled, occasionally blurring like static, then sharpening again. I wanted to shut it off. My hand wouldn't move. On screen, he laughed. Said something I couldn't quite hear. Then he froze. His head snapped toward the camera, toward me. His eyes widened. Not in recognition, but in horror. The video distorted, colors bleeding, frames skipping. He whispered something, too soft to catch. The footage stretched, warped, and then silence. The screen went black. A hiss crawled through my speakers. Not static, but breathing. Then, beneath it, layered and broken, came a voice I knew too well. My brother's voice. Said my name. Once. Twice. Louder the third time, like it was inside my skull. The video ended. The folder vanished. The desktop went dark again, leaving only the faint reflection of my pale, trembling face in the glass. I should tell you more. I should explain what I saw in that whisper, what I finally understood about the night he died. But I won't. I can't. Because some knowledge is meant to stay buried. And if you ever find a file like that on your own machine, don't open it. You won't like what stares back. I thought finishing this, telling you everything, would give me some kind of release. Like confession could cleanse the infection. But if anything, it's worse now. Because as I speak, as I try to piece this story into something you can understand, my monitor is glowing again. The account. His account. It just logged in. I swear to you, my hands aren't anywhere near the keyboard. The tower's fans are silent. The power button's still dark. And yet, The notification pings in my ears like a gunshot. Brother_01 is online. My stomach knots. I want to stop recording, but some part of me needs you to hear this, needs someone else to witness it, so I know I'm not dissolving into madness. The screen flickers. Not once. Not like a glitch. A steady pulse. Like a heartbeat. Each flash throws my room into stark, skeletal shadows. The hum of electricity in the walls grows louder, syncing with the rhythm. Then the chat box opens. By itself. A cursor blinks, patient, mocking. And then the words appear. Don't log off. I freeze. My throat feels like it's closing. I never typed a word, but my cursor slides across the screen anyway, like unseen hands guiding it. Letters spill out in jerky bursts. I'm here. No, not me. Not my words. Through me. The room chills, sharp enough that my breath smokes in the air. I can smell dust and copper, like blood on old metal. Somewhere behind me, my headset rattles on the desk, vibrating against the wood in a steady drone. The game client launches on its own. Black screen, loading bar. My pulse climbs with it, beat for beat. And then the lobby opens. There he is, his avatar waiting, just like before but sharper this time. Its edges too defined, too real, like the pixels are cutting through the screen. His face isn't a face anymore, just a hollow mask of static. But the tag above it, Brother_01, pulses green, alive, and next to him the player slots, all filled with names I don't recognize. Strings of numbers, broken symbols. No way these are human, except for one slot, empty, waiting. For me. The screen judders. My speakers crackle. And then, beneath all the distortion, his voice pushes through, low and raw, like he's right here in the room. He says my name, and then, clear as glass, he's in the lobby again. And this time, there's a slot open for me.